Hi, I'm Jacob Allene with 6 News, and welcome to Backstage Safari.
And I'm Matt Gebhardt, and this is Lindsay.
Hi.
Today we're taking a tour of the tiger exhibit at the zoo. So what are we going to see today?
We're going to be watching Goosty. Goosty is one of our male tigers out here. We're going to be doing some training with them. We're also going to ask him to do some fun stuff. You guys are going to get to see all of his body. You're going to see his paws, his face. He might be able to open his mouth for you guys. And we'll talk about all the cool training that we're doing with them and all the conservation work we're doing to help tigers internationally.
All right. Sounds like a lot of fun. Let's get going.
So this is Goosty. He's one of our 7-year-olds. He came here with his son Nicole back in October of last year in 2024. So there are 2 newest tiger additions. And then we have one more girl named Maharani. She's 19. She came here in 2008. So she's been here for quite a long time.
And where did they come from?
Those guys came from Memphis. So they're our newest ones. They drove them down. So animal transfers can be done in a variety of ways. They can be done either by airplane or by driving. There's some that even are done by boat. That's usually not done anymore. But these guys, since they were not an international, we were able to just drive them up. So they came here in 2024. That's a very hands-on process. There's quite a few people that assist in the delivery. So usually there's multiple people in the van. And then whenever they get here, we help with the unloading. And then usually we'll stay here for quite a long time just to make sure they're settling in. So they're definitely still getting used to everything, but they're doing really great. They've had quite a while to settle in, so there's still some new things that they're checking out. We try to add novel things to their exhibit all the time, so these wrapped poles are kind of new and novel for them. We're able to hang their meat or hang up toys up pretty high so they can exhibit that climbing behavior. These guys are really good climbers, so we wanted to give them a way to express that.
Now, obviously, this is a tricky animal to handle. How do you guys ensure your safety when you're doing this?
Yeah, there's a lot of protocols that we follow. That's kind of the same for all zoos. All zoos will have different protocols. So you can see we're all masked up back here. This is one way that we can ensure that we're keeping them safe from things like COVID-19. Big cats are susceptible to COVID-19, so we had to be extra careful about if we're feeling any symptoms. We don't get to work with them that day. And then we also wear gloves whenever we're handling any of their food. That's also for safety. That's for transfer of any kind of diseases. We don't want to give them anything that way. But the biggest thing is if we're ever, walking around outside here, just being super cautious and aware of where these guys are. They go inside every night to go to sleep, and then we come out here in the morning. We'll check their yard. We'll make sure everything's safe for them to come out here and safe for the public to view them, and then send them out in the morning. And then they go in about 5 o'clock. They know inside time is where they get all their dinner, so they're usually pretty good about going inside.
What kind of personalities do they have? It seems like they've got, pretty regimented routines.
Oh, yeah.
You guys get to know kind of who they are?
Oh, yeah. That's one of the biggest things as zookeepers is learning our animals' personalities and learning how to work with them. So Goosey specifically, he's pretty fun to work with. He's very curious. You can see he's kind of checking us out. He's been laying over there. He was asleep when we first walked up, and he's slowly going to inch his way up here as we start to try to train with him. But he's very curious. He loves to check out his environment. He loves any kind of new toys. New people can be a little bit scary to him, but he's really quick to get over it, which is very nice. His son Nicole is kind of the same way. They're kind of like peas in a pod. We don't ever put them in the same space together. Tigers are naturally solitary, so we don't give them where they can share space. But the boys can be mesh to mesh, and they'll cheek rub and they'll chuff. They're like, oh my God, I love each other. So definitely still father and son are very close, which is really cute to see. Maharani, who's our old girl, she's 19. Naturally, these guys live to be in about their 20s under human care. So she's an older girl, so she spends a lot of her time just lazing and relaxing. She loves a good sun spot to go find and sleep. So kind of like your cat at home, these guys spend a lot of their time just snoozing and hanging out most of the day.
What goes into an enclosure like this to make sure that they feel at home?
Sure, a lot goes into an enclosure like this. One thing that we try to do anytime we're designing a new exhibit or we're adding features to an existing exhibit is to think about what natural behaviors they would exhibit in the wild. So we thought about tigers. Tigers like climbing, so we added the rope to the poles to ensure that they have a place to climb. Tigers are also naturally great swimmers, which is why there's a giant water feature in this one. Whereas if you guys go over to our lion exhibit, it's a much smaller pool because lions aren't going to be getting in the water and swimming around. But we want to design our exhibits with the specific animal species in mind. Because what we want to do is, even though they are under human care, we want them to exhibit as many natural behaviors as we can get them to exhibit. We want them to feel as comfortable and as natural in their spaces. So Adding things like sitting up high, so you'll see Goosey sitting up on a rock right now. These guys like to sit up in elevated spaces, so giving them the option to do that. We add new toys in here all the time. We'll scatter feed, so before we send them out in the morning, we'll scatter their meat all around here, and then they'll have to walk around and find all of their meat everywhere. So we really work hard to try to make it an engaging space, a space that's pretty to look at, but then also a space that's practical for the species.
What's their favorite toy? I see a couple hanging around.
Oh yeah, Goosey specifically really likes the climbing poles. He gets a goat shank once a week, and that's really fun to hang up. We'll attach it to the carabiners all the way at the top, and he has to climb up, and then he has to rip it down. He's really good at climbing. He is on those things a lot. Nicole, his son, he really likes balls, like toy balls. So there's one inside that has a smaller ball inside of it. So he likes to bat that around, and he'll hear the jingle of the ball inside. He enjoys that. And then Maharani, she loves a good log. She loves to scratch a good log. So kind of like your cat scratches a home, she's the same. They file down their nails the same way. So that's why we have these logs out here. They do it inside, they'll do it out here, which is a pretty cool behavior to watch them do.
It sounds like a lot of the behavior is very much cat behavior, just very, very big cats.
Yeah, and that's why it's important. So even though, we're talking about how they're so similar to your house cats, these guys make terrible pets. Unfortunately, there are more tigers in private collections here in Texas than there are left in the wild. Tigers make terrible pets. They are wild animals at the end of the day. So even an animal that you've raised from, being a cub, still have the potential to be very dangerous. So tigers do not make good pets. They're meant to be wild animals. They're meant to be treated like wild animals. So that's why, we do training with them. We try to be hands-on with them so we can participate in their health care. But other than that, we never go in with them. We're not treating them like pets. We treat them like the animals that they are.
Yeah. Let's see, this is one of the more popular exhibits.
Oh, yeah.
And kids are out here checking them out. What do you hope visitors learn about these animals?
I think the most important thing, and it's kind of our zoo's mission in general, is to inspire that conservation message and inspire the passion for animals and other people. I think it's one thing to read about an animal in a textbook and learn all the facts about them, but actually seeing them, in person, I think is so impactful and is so different. Seeing whenever they're walking, you can see the way their muscles move and just how powerful they are. I think it's something that you can't read or teach in a textbook. So, trying to get people to learn about and become educated, but also find that passion within themselves to care about these animals. We work alongside a lot of conservation organizations. Tiger SSP is just one of many. We've donated about $11,000 to the Tiger SSP in the last 4 years, so we're very active in the conservation. We're very passionate about, even though, we have tigers here in Waco, Texas that we're taking care of, we also want to try to sustain the natural population out in the wild.
Now, you've referenced tiger training several times. What does that entail?
So for him specifically, he's going to come up here. He knows a variety of different behaviors. He knows how to go up, so you'll see him get to stand all the way up. They look a little short whenever he's up here, but when he stands up, he gets pretty tall. Lay down, they know how to show both paws. One really cool thing they know how to do is actually blood draw. So we do that inside. We have a chute system inside that we use for that, but we've actually successfully gotten blood on him. And that's a really important thing for us to be able to do, because blood can tell you a lot about their health and a lot about the way that they're doing. So we try really hard for a lot of our animals to do these voluntary medical behaviors, because what we don't want to happen is if something happens, we have to anesthetize to go under for surgery if it isn't something major, because surgery can be really risky. There's a lot of things involved. So if we can get them to participate in their own healthcare and they get good treats out of it and they're enjoying the session, it's just a win-win for both of us. So Goosey's a Sumatran tiger, so he is the smallest of the subspecies of tigers. He weighs in right at about the high 200s. Is kind of normal for adult males. You can see he's being a little bit stubborn. He's nice and comfortable over there on his little seat.
I can go around to that front too.
That's good.
Work him this way. Come here!
Too many new people around.
He's like, what is going on? Come here, baby!
So a lot of these guys, the way that they communicate is vocalizations, but they also communicate a lot through body language. So watching like the tail flicks, watching where his eyes are looking, his ears especially, you can tell a lot about what he's thinking or what he's anticipating to do just by looking at his body language.
And what's his body language telling you right now?
That he's interested, but he doesn't feel like getting up. He's definitely paying attention to us. He definitely has eyes on, his ears are up, but he's not quite sure if he wants to get all the way up.
Good boy. Come here, baby.
So you can see he's a little apprehensive about new people, but Goosty's very brave. He'll likely come up. He'll just be checking you guys out for sure.
Good boy. Good boy. Come here, baby.
And what is it that we're bribing him with?
We were asking him to come up and train with, this is meat, so this is ground up beef.
Okay.
Tonight he'll get his big goat shank. That's his special treat tonight.
Okay.
These guys are able to participate or not participate in any training session that they would like. We don't ever force them to do anything. Our training facility that we use is called positive reinforcement training, which is rewarding good behaviors. We try to tend not to use anything negative. We want this to be a positive and fun experience for them. We don't want this to be something they feel like they have to do or something that they're pressured into doing. We want this to be enjoyable.
You're so brave. Good boy.
And this is a great way, to participate in their own healthcare. So it's great for them learning these behaviors and exhibiting these behaviors, for us to be able to check them out and make sure medically they're doing good. But it's also a great way for us to learn, how an animal responds or how they react.
Good job, baby. Good.
We can also try stepping off the platform and seeing if that helps too.
Let's try that.
Sure. So just as you're walking, just make sure you stay kind of on this side of the area.
Good job, baby.
So one of my favorite fun facts about tigers is they are great swimmers, and they're so great swimmers that they've actually evolved to have webbing between their toes to help them whenever they're swimming around. These guys are opportunistic carnivores, so they basically eat any kind of meat that they can find. So that includes things like scavenging, or they'll hunt their own prey like deer, or even down to like fish.
B27.
How much does the tiger typically eat per day?
Yeah, so I'll go for it.
Can you hear me? Okay. He gets several pounds of the ground meat, about 3, plus a shank. It's a goat hind quarter or a shank of a horse leg. So it ends up probably totaling between 5 and 6 pounds of meat a day.
And they have a pretty varied diet. She's just feeding them that ground beef right now, but like we said, they get goat, but then they also get weird things sometimes like rabbits. They get that horse shank. There are certain times they get like chicks during the week. So that rotates every day, so that way it's nice and novel for them. They're not just eating the same thing every single day. But it's also good for their digestive health. Naturally in the wild, they wouldn't be eating the exact same thing every single day. Then they do get fasted once a week. So just like in the wild, they wouldn't be successful in catching prey every single day. So theoretically, they would not eat every single day in the wild. So to help kind of regulate that, we inserted a fast day, which is just a day where they don't get any kind of extra meat or anything, to help regulate that. So what Emily's looking for whenever we're doing training like this is whenever he's holding up his paws, we're looking for things that are stuck in his toe pads or any kind of splinters. Whenever he's laying down, we're making sure that he's not, adjusting or putting pressure on only one side and not the other. Whenever he's opening up his mouth, we're checking out his teeth, we're checking out the roof of his mouth and his gums. So she's kind of doing a full wellness exam on him while she's doing this training. So definitely, we're definitely multitaskers in this field. We have to do a lot of things at once.
You'd mentioned there are more in private collections than there are in the wild. What kind of conservation efforts are y'all working on? Are there any plans to release these back to the wild?
So these guys will stay in zoos for their whole life. Unfortunately, they just weren't raised to be successful out in the wild. They're not quite sure how to do some of the things that they would need to know in order to survive in the wild. But that's why we work with other conservations like the Tiger SSP that are able to work with catch and release and international work to put them back in the wild. So even though these guys are able to go back into the wild and they will have to live here their whole life, we want to ensure that we're also spending just as much effort and time and money on ensuring that in the local populations of tigers in their natural habitat are also safe. A lot of that comes down to trying to combat things like pet trade, obviously, and then deforestation is a really big problem for them. Specifically in Sumatra, where these guys are from, these guys are found. Palm oil is a really big problem, and that affects a lot of the animals in the ecosystem. So just down our way here in our Asia Loop, you'll find orangutans. They're also affected by palm oil. Essentially what that is, it's a tree that is harvested and it's found in a lot of your bathroom and kitchen products. There's really not a lot of stuff that doesn't have it at this point. But instead of doing it sustainably in a way that doesn't use all of the land, they're just mowing down rainforest and forested area where these guys live to just keep planting more trees. So there is actually an app that you can download on your phone. If you just type in palm oil into the App Store, it should be the first one that pops up, and you can actually scan the barcodes of all of the goods that you buy at the grocery store, and it will tell you if that palm oil has been harvested sustainably. So people can even make those choices in their own shopping to help save tigers and help save orangutans, which is pretty cool.
This tiger is an endangered species?
Yep. Unfortunately, they are not doing well in the wild due to things like deforestation and pet trade. There are just not a lot of them left in the wild, and that can cause a lot of problems with something we call bottleneck, where when there's not a lot of individuals in the wild, they start to breed with just the ones that are only in their immediate area, and that can cause a lot of genetic problems. We see that in some other species that have been bottlenecked, like Gerenuk, for example, or they're just more prone to genetic problems because there's just not a lot of them and because their genetics get all kind of mixed up. Which is why it's important for us to have genetic diversity. So it's why we're working so hard to save them and raise awareness for their conservation. And they're also just really cool. I think they're one of the very staple animals that you think of whenever you think of a zoo. They're definitely one that, like we talked about, people come and they want to see and they're really excited to look at.
Wasn't a great image.
So that was, you heard a nice vocalization from him. That was kind of like his, okay, I'm done, please get back, kind of a vocalization.
Well, that may be a wrap then.
Oh yeah, he'll tell you when he's done.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, of course. That's our mission here at Cameron Park Zoo, is to, educate and make sure people have access to being able to learn about these awesome animals and all the wonderful conservation work that not only we can do, but people themselves can get into and get involved in. So that's really kind of our mission. So we're really excited to be able to help out with that.